call. Yeah, my team got beat on Saturdays badly. 6-25. They had a big girl on their team, St. Cyril's. I swear to God, she looked like a high school sophomore or something.
Probably was what just turned in.
Like, she was just making all the points, and our girls were trying to shoot, and she just swatted them down. And then they were complaining to me that she was elbowing them, and they all had bruises. So anyway, we play. This is our tournament this coming weekend, so. And we'll be done. Then track starts the week after that. So then I'm the head track coach, and I still haven't found another coach. Maybe you guys want to make some money and be a coach. Let me know. It's a pretty good job.
What day is it?
Track.
Yeah, what days?
It would be Monday through. It starts February 19th. Monday through Thursday. So private schools, their school, so 3 to 5. So you'd make $15 an hour. So you'd make like $30 a day.
Yeah.
And then on the track meets, you're going to be there 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
So you could make whatever that is. So, and you don't have to be an expert at track. I'll teach you everything you need to know.
That's the reason I haven't applied.
Yeah, I'll teach you whatever you need to know. I'm like a track expert. That was my sport.
It's not bad. Probably there for the fun, like.
Yeah. But yeah, let me know, because you gotta go, you have to get certified. You gotta get fingerprinted, you gotta go to the diocese and take some tests and stuff. Like, you gotta watch some videos and stuff.
And you don't have to have experience, like, not too much experience at least.
Fine. I'll hire you right now. I'll train you. We need people, because it's like, otherwise I gotta coach like 60 to 80 kids by myself. I got one other coach right now. And we just need bodies.
How long did you say the position goes for?
It would be about 6 weeks probably. Probably goes till about April. About the middle of April is our last week.
Okay.
The meets are at South Point on the weekends, either Saturday or Sunday. So you make a lot of money.
And for Saturday, the day before Saturday, Sunday?
What's that?
The track meets are Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah. Yeah.
What time are those?
Usually at 9.
Morning?
Yeah, 9 in the morning.
Oh.
And then at the track meet, we have a little tent. We have a tent that the kids kind of hang out under, and their parents bring tents too. And then our duty as St. Peter and Paul is to run the discus for the whole meet. So we need volunteers to go. You'd be in charge, I'd be in charge of the whole team. Like, I'm running around like crazy to make sure everybody's going to their events. But the other coaches have to run the discus. So you'd be over there saying, okay, Jones is up, Smith is on deck, and Fred is on hold. So you're up, you're on deck, or you're on hold. So it means you're up to throw the discus. You got to walk in the back of the discus ring, and you can spin or not spin, and your foot can't go over, and then you can't go out of the ring, and then you just measure the tape from where it landed. So somebody has to be out there, pull the tape, and then somebody writes it down. Okay, he threw 67 feet, 3/4 of it.
And it's every weekend?
Not every weekend. There'll be like a spring break or something.
And they're both Saturday, Sunday?
No, it'll be one or
Monday,
the other.
Thursday? Monday, Thursday, yeah.
Oh, the practices are Monday through Thursday at St. Peter and Paul, which is just at Campbell and Speedway.
Yeah. I can do the weekdays, but weekends I have work. So I usually open for my store.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
My main
We could
interfering thing is
still-
Monday with an economics class that kind of goes into the evening.
Oh, really?
No,
Okay.
during the
We
weekend.
can work with, I mean, we can be flexible. So think about it, guys, let me know. Because it starts pretty quick. Let's see.
Starts February what?
Isn't it,
19th.
yeah, track's a lot of fun, I love coaching track. This will be like my 19th year coaching track. And, cause that's the event I ran in high school, and then I also ran at Pima when I got here, so. I was real good in high school, and then I was real mediocre at Pima. I think I got like 2 third places my whole time at Pima.
It's like harder.
Yeah, cause you're like I was a pole vaulter, high jumper, long jumper, like I was third in the state in pole vault when I was a senior. And then when I got to Pima, I still went a foot higher, but that's where they started. They started at 14 feet
Also,
at Pima. So that was my height. In high school, I jumped 13 feet. In Pima, they started the bar at 14. So, but it was still a fun experience.
it's all
Okay,
about,
guys. You're gonna quit?
it's all about the experience, you know.
Yeah, it was a good time. And my coach just passed away like this last year. He was a really good coach.
Leaders.
Milton was his name. I have a shot. Okay, okay, guys, let's look at the, actually, did anybody have any problems with the GitHub? Did everybody do the GitHub thing? Okay, created a GitHub account and learned how to create a branch and all that kind of stuff? Good, okay.
I just made the account.
You made the account?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you make a branch also?
Yeah, I have to make a branch and, what do they call it? Pulling in the changes. So we're recommending that you use GitHub. It's good to learn how to use it, but you don't have to use it. You know, you don't have, I'm not demanding, I'm not gonna know whether you use it or not, so it's up to you, but it's good to know, okay? And I know Adrian had some questions too about GitHub, but if we have time, we'll get into it, but I wanna cover a bunch of stuff today, so we'll see if we can get through it. I don't know your name.
Emmanuel.
What is it?
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel? So have you always been in here?
Yeah.
Okay. This is you? All right. This will help me remember your name. I'll just say it right here.
I was there last class.
Okay. I'm Ray. Nice to meet
Nice to meet you.
you. Oh, Tim
Yeah. Oh.
has, he's videoing right now, I think, or he videoed the last class, so you guys should write this down. YouTube.com and then @TF_class_vids_Pima. And he's been kind enough to video these classes, so if you miss one, or you wanna review something that you might have missed, go check it out, right? Is it always gonna be the same URL?
Unless I start changing where I'm publishing it to. For now it is, and I'm not promising the most clean product, but it may be a helpful reference.
That's awesome, good for you, thanks for doing that.
What are those first couple characters? @TF?
Yeah, looks like, this is just the @ sign, right?
Yeah, my handwriting is not great.
Not too bad. So it's youtube.com/@TF Tim your last name's Fine, right?
Yes.
Tim Fine _class_vids_Pima. That's great. Okay, guys, let's see. Admit all, Yusuf, Fernanda, you're in. All right, let's look at the poll questions first. We've got 11 people. All right. In Python, the variable myInt, spelled like this, is the same as the variable myInt spelled with a capital N. True or false? Looks like most people are getting it, and you're right, that's false. So what does that mean? If I'm saying this is different from that, what is that telling you?
Variables are case sensitive, and I believe they're also made up by the programmer.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And what are some of the rules, or what are a couple of the rules for naming variables?
There's
Abigail.
camel case, which is you start lowercase and then each new word in the variable name starts with a capital letter.
Right. Right. What's another rule? What can't they start with?
Numbers?
Numbers, right?
Okay.
Could I name a variable, this?
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Could I name a variable,
They said don't.
Oh, no, true, no, because that's a Python statement.
Oh, that too.
this is what we call a keyword, right?
You can name things with capitals, you're just not supposed to.
Right. But you can't, you can never use a keyword for a variable, like if. Right? You couldn't say if.
Yeah, that can't
equals
be a
5.
variable, or that would screw everything
Right.
up.
Or while. Or print. You couldn't say print equals 5, because that's a function name, right?
Or equals.
Yeah. Okay, what other rules? We can't start with, is this a valid name? An underscore my int,
I think so.
is that valid?
Probably.
Underscore my int.
There's a camel case.
How many
right?
people say it's good? Yeah, how many say it's bad? Okay, it's good, it's actually good. You can start with an underscore. But what if I said 9 my int? Is that good or bad?
Bad.
Bad, yeah. Can never use a number at the beginning, okay? What about $sign my int? Can I start with a $sign or a special character?
Probably not.
Nope. So these two examples are bad. That's bad. That would be bad, 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 bad. So you can start with an underscore, or any letter, uppercase or lowercase. This happens to be camel case, because it looks like a camel. Camel sounds. Okay, good. So we got variable names now, all right. Okay, so you guys got that one. That one was false. Okay, let's mark this next one. What is the name of the function that gets input from the user? Is it int, float, or input? Getting lots of votes for the input.
Bless you.
Super. Yep, everybody that's logged in here, oh, I still gotta let some people in. Okay, you got it right, it is input. Ishaka, Antonio. Okay, let me get back to this. Yeah, you're right, it's input. Very good. Do I just type in? Do I just type in, I'll say my int equals input. Do I just go like, would that work?
You'll need quotes, won't you?
It would work, but it'd be confusing from a user interface.
Because the user wouldn't see what?
They just see like a place for them to type, but they might not realize that it's a place for them to type.
Right. What would be better to put in here?
Some quotes and some text telling them to put in an input.
Yeah. This, and what would this be called?
A prompt.
Yeah. Good. And I usually put a double quote and a space. Okay, so this would be a prompt. So this is gonna print out to the user, enter an integer and a little space, wait, and it's waiting for you, it's sitting there waiting for you to type something. Is this gonna be an integer once we get it? Is that variable gonna be of type integer, of type float, or type string?
That's a
Type
string.
String? You think it's a string?
As it goes in.
Yep. Yep, that's right. If I just go like this, input, the input function always returns a string. So how would I convert this to an integer? There's two ways to do it.
Put another parentheses after input that says int.
Like this?
I think that would work too. I meant on the other side of input, but
This
Yeah.
is the way to do it.
that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the best way. Simplest way. So this, it takes the innermost thing, it does that, and then it converts that to an int. Okay. So, you guys got that right? Good, so it's the input function. Okay. let's do quick, this one, blah, 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 blah. In Python, the default action of the print function is to print a new line after the arguments supplied to the function. True or false? And what this, can anybody tell me what a new line is again, if you remember? What's a new line? What's that mean? Close, close, yeah.
Backslash n?
Yeah, yeah. And what is that? What is a new line? Does that mean the next print statement starts on the same line or a new line?
New line.
New line. Good, okay. That's right. So the default action, if I just say print like hello on the screen, you guys can try this too. And yeah, you should probably open up VS Code or Anaconda IPython. If you just type this, if this is my, if I'm in the interactive mode, it's gonna print hello, and then it's gonna move down here waiting for your next command, right? That's what the new line is. It's printed it, and you actually don't see, but there's an in, a backslash in here that knocks it down to the next line. But if I change this and said comma in equals 2 single quotes, and I ran this, executed this one command here, it would print hello, and it would just sit right here, waiting. It wouldn't, your next input would be right here. Does that make sense? So the new line moves it down to the next line. Okay, let's end that. You guys did well. 2 more. Launch. What built-in function can we use to determine the type of a variable? So somebody tell me the 4 main types. That we have.
Is it those 3 in string? Oh, never mind. Ish.
There's a couple answers right there. Have a go. Just give me one.
Boolean?
I know you probably know them. Boolean, good. What's another type? Carlos?
An array.
An array? It's not a type, but that's a data structure.
Okay.
But yeah, you're getting ahead,
Mhm.
thinking ahead, good.
String.
String, good, good Anthony, string. So like this would be a string. Good. A Boolean would be true or false with a capital T or a capital S. Good. I'm gonna call, okay, go ahead, Carlos.
Oh, float.
Yeah, float, good. What's an example of a float?
2.5.
Yeah, 2.5, good. Floating point, that means it's got a decimal point. Okay. And that's Cipriano. What's the last one? We got Boolean, string, float, and if I'm counting on my fingers like this, what are these things? Whole numbers, right? What else do we call them? Excellent. Integers, okay, good. So that would be like 1, 2, -1, 100, whatever. Okay, good. All right. So now we know the types. These are all the types that we're going to use in this class. We're not going to use anything else. Carlos said an array. Wow, you're jumping ahead. An array, you can create a variable called myArray, and it looks like this.
It's gonna be multiple.
This is what we call a list. I'm jumping ahead, but since you mentioned it, okay. This is a list. Arrays are called lists in Python. Okay. And this would give me an empty list. And I could say something like myArray sub 0 equals capital letter A. So arrays,
Yeah, those are cool answers.
have a whole bunch of things in them, like a list of numbers, a list of strings, a list of floating points.
They can be affected individually somehow.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So if I said print, and everything starts with a subscript of 0, if I wanted to say, if I say print my array, we call it sub 0, that would print out the letter A. So just, since you mentioned it, we're gonna just hit on it, but you'll see it again in more depth. But this is called a list, and it is a data structure. It's a thing that stores data. It's something that stores data.
So
when-
they're comma separated, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. There. So once you start reading in a bunch of data, like say you're gonna read in a big file that contains 1,000,000 lines of numbers. You wanna store them in something, right? You're not gonna create 1,000,000 variables, right? You're not gonna create A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, and read all those in the separate variables. You're just gonna read them into this one. And we'll do that with another kind of loop we're gonna learn later. Okay, very good. So, now that we talked about the types, if I say, I'm gonna write over here now. So we know that there's 4 types. How would I determine if I have a variable, what type it is? And you guys got this right, you use the type function. So if I ran this command, I said my int equals int of input, enter an integer, and I typed in 5. If I typed this right now at my command prompt, my interactive command prompt, type of my int, what do you think that's gonna output?
Everything but Boolean?
What is this, what type is this thing?
Oh.
Is this variable? This is a variable, but what type is it? Of those
Integer?
4 types.
No. Oh, no.
Would it be integer?
It is?
Yeah, this is just gonna output,
Because it's gonna output, so that's what it is?
it's gonna output
The
integer.
type of variable.
Yeah, you can try it out. Now, what Python does, and we're gonna get into this in a second, is what they call dynamic typing. Dynamic typing, what does that mean? I'm a real fast typist?
I mean, sometimes you type harder.
That's right, harder or softer. So if I say, Python's pretty smart, like C is not smart. The C language doesn't have dynamic typing. You actually have to tell it ahead of time what kind of variable you want. But in Python, I could say x equals 5, and it says, it looks at it and says, there's no decimal point, there's no single quotes, it's not true or false, this is an integer. And it automatically assigns that variable of type integer. If I say y equals 2.5, it automatically assigns that as a float type. This is dynamic typing. You don't have to tell it ahead of time. It just does it. If I say z equals I, it says that's a string, okay? And if I said result equals false, it would say result is of type Boolean. Okay, so that's what I mean by dynamic typing.
Equals equals false?
No, we'll get to that, yeah. But this is me, yeah, that's a good question. This is me assigning. We use a single equal sign to assign.
So it equals false.
But we use double equal signs to compare. Okay, so this is assigning the value 5 or binding the value 5 to the variable x in memory. So this is a single equal is an assignment. Okay. And we'll get the double equal in later on in this class. Okay, so you guys got this right. It's the type function. Let's do this one more. you should get this one because I just mentioned the answer. Assigning an object to a variable, blank the variable's name to the object. Okay, so I'm assigning an object to a variable, object to variable, object to variable, object to variable. Am I inheriting it? Am I binding it? Or am I clearing it? And most people look like you got the right answer, so it's called binding. So I'm binding, connecting the two together. So if I assign x 5 to x, and then later on, I say, that's lowercase print. If I say print 5, the output is, print x, the output is 5, all right? Now let me ask you this, if I assign 5 to x, later on in my program, can I now say x equals 10? Can I reassign or rebind a new value to the variable? Yeah, yeah. It's a variable, it can vary. You can put anything into it, over and over again. You can change it, doesn't matter. Okay, so you guys got that? The word is bind, very good. So any questions? Let me see if more people want to. Good, so any questions about what we just covered? Don't worry about arrays yet, that's down the line. We won't get to that until we get to data structures. Don't worry about that. But it's kind of good to look at it and just know that it exists. Okay. So this is what I want to cover today. I need to hook up my laptop real fast. This is what I'm going to try to cover. We'll see if we have time. We didn't quite make it last time. I always run out of time. I should probably stop making small talk. Focus right on this.
We'll run out of time eventually.
Let's see if this is gonna work. Did that thing pop up yet? Let's see. Ah, there we go, okay. This is what I wanna try to cover today. So, we've kind of already got this first bullet, getting input from the user, converting input to an integer because input always returns a string. So we're looking at this again. Does everyone understand this input function right now? If I use the input function and put in a string, it's going to print that out to the user and then store that value into this variable. If I put int in front of it, it's going to convert it to an integer. I could also put float right here if I wanted. And that would convert it to a float. Or if I did something like this, my string equals str. Let's say, and we'll say input, enter a and int. We'll see this again, integer. This would take whatever I entered and convert it to a string. So what if the user typed in 5? And I wanted to print that out. What would it look like? Would it look like, would it be an int, or would it look like this?
The output?
Yeah.
Without the quotes still.
The variable. If I converted
Oh.
5 that I entered to a string, it would look like this. And I wouldn't be able to add it.
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to add it to 10, for example, because it's now a string, right? You can't add strings. Does that make sense? I just want to make sure you guys understand the input function. Okay? The input by itself just returns a string, like this.
Bless you.
Zoom tight. And somebody brought this up, I think, in the last class. Maybe it was Abigail. I think it was you. If I have the string hello and a space, and I want to add it to world, can you add two strings together like that?
You'll have no.
Kinda.
Oh, there's a space.
Can I do that? Is that allowed?
Yep.
Isn't
Yeah.
it?
What do you think it does? What if I say x
Combines two
equals
strings.
that? What would x equal? Like,
X equals 2 strings.
yeah, it just puts them together.
Yeah, oh, concatenates. Is that what you're looking
Concatenate,
for?
yeah. Yeah, good word. Concatenate. This is a comment. Concatenate. Concatenate. So I'm putting two things together to make one string. That's called concatenation. There's a Unix command. If you ever take Unix or learn Unix or Linux, there's a Linux command called cat. And a Linux prompt usually looks like this. And if I said cat, a file name, some kind of file name, it just prints the whole file name out to the screen. Just dumps it. So it's just spitting out everything. So this concatenates or adds. So you can use this. This would be called an operator overload. Because if I want to add 5 plus 10, those are integers, I get 15. So the plus sign here is adding two integers. The plus sign here is concatenating. So we're using the plus sign for two different things. So we're overloading it. We're saying, yeah, we can use this for two or more things.
It can combine strings as well as numbers, you mean? Or,
Yeah, you can combine strings with that, but if it sees numbers, it just does arithmetic.
what if you have 2 of both in one?
Oh, what if you had
column?
one number and one string?
Yeah,
That would be an error.
that would be an
It would
error.
give you an error, yeah. It would say, I can't, if you said the string 5 plus the integer 10, it would complain.
It wouldn't say 5, 10,
Nope,
with 5 in quotes, okay.
it wouldn't. So how would I fix that if I wanted to make it 5, 10?
You would convert 10 to a string.
Yeah, how could I do that?
You could do str parentheses quotes 10,
Right,
or do you need the parentheses if you're converting?
like that.
Or no, yeah. Okay.
So this would take the string 5, convert the integer to a string 10, and when I output it, it would be one string that's just 5, 1, 0. I should have made this 2. That's our prefix here, right? 520.
Oh, I see what happened now. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we created a baseball team back in the day, me and a couple other guys called 520 Elite. They're still around. Yeah, so any questions on input? I think you guys are getting it. You're gonna have a chance to do it a little bit more. Any questions at all? We'll move to the next topic. Okay. Discuss the float function, which converts a string into a floating point number. Okay. Well, we already looked at float right here. Okay, let's see if I can get rid of this stuff for a second. It's kind of the same as what we just did.
What was the one for remainders?
Okay, what if I did,
So it will tell you the
um,
remainder by the decimal.
if I said x equals float of 5. And I tried to print out x, what would x print out? Yeah, excellent. If I do print x, it would print out 5.0. Yep, exactly. It converts it to a floating point. Since it's just 5, it just puts a point there and 0, okay? What if I said x is, or let's make it y. Y is float 1.35. What's that gonna print out if I say print y? Does it do anything to it?
I don't think so.
It's already a float.
1.35.
1.35. Okay. What if I say z equals float the string 1.35?
Guess we'll print it in quotes. Well, wait, no, it won't.
And I want to say print z now. What does that print out?
Is that an error?
Converts the string to a float. 1.35.
Converts string to a float. Got it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what kind of
Yeah.
function the variable
So you
is.
can convert between all these things. You can convert an integer to a float to a float, a string to a float. Or vice versa, you can convert a float to an int, a string to an int to an int. Any questions on that point? That seems pretty obvious to me.
Understandably.
Now we talked about dynamic typing,
Bless you.
so who can tell me what that is again, now that we've covered it one time?
Whether or not it's the programming language's ability to recognize certain kinds of variables as you're typing them, so it may automatically know whether it's a string or an integer.
Yeah. Good.
You
That's
said the language, not the application. Sorry. You know what I'm saying?
that's the language, yeah.
The language itself.
Yeah, it does that, yeah. Like if I was in C, if I was writing a C program, I'd have to say int space x, and put a semicolon, saying x is an integer variable. Or I'd have to say float y, and then semicolon. And then I could say x equals 10 and y equals 3.14.
I forgot that C++ can't recognize the end of the line.
Yeah. You gotta always, in C, C++, you gotta put semicolons at the end of every line, or statement. So this is not dynamic typing. This would be called manual typing, I guess. You have to, this would be called strongly typed. They'll say, oh, C is a strongly typed language. Which means you definitely have to tell it the type before you do it. Okay, what the heck is garbage collection? Anybody know? Garbage collection? That's a term you're gonna hear.
Fire. Got one.
Any ideas?
Is it trying to make sure that you don't have the wrong data type?
Not quite,
Okay.
not quite. Good guess. Any other guesses? Garbage collection. Okay, say I say, x equals 5, right? This is an integer. I assign the variable x, the integer 5. And then I said x equals 10. Where did the 5 go?
You reassigned it.
Right, the 5 is gone, it's garbage now. Because it disappeared, I don't have it anymore. The program knows nothing about it, because now I've assigned the variable x the value 10. So that's garbage collection. if I reassign a variable another value,
That's
it collects this in memory. This 5 that was sitting out in memory, it collects it and throws it away, cleans it out, so the program's ready to handle more input. Okay, that's garbage code. Okay. Any questions about garbage code? You guys need a break, but I wanna go a little bit more.
This is what like say Python would be doing in the background once that variable does become irrelevant.
Yep.
It's got nothing to do with the user changing their code.
Nope,
Okay.
it just does it in the background, yeah. Good point.
To speed the processing up.
Yeah, just so all the memory is not being taken up by all these numbers, right? Otherwise, you're gonna run out of memory. Like say you read in a million numbers and you kept reassigning X is this, then X is this, and X is this, X is this, a million times, is it gonna store all those million numbers out there? Or is it just gonna clean them up and free up that memory space? So that's what it does. Okay, let's cover comparisons, and then we'll give you guys a break. And then we'll see if we can get through this. Let me see if I want you guys to do something in class,
Oh, not equal.
but does it involve those, one second here. I want you guys to do something in class, is it right? No. It was back in. And I think it has to do with comparison operators. Is that, did you say figure? 0201. Oh, here we go, okay. Okay, yeah, that's what this has to do with, okay. So now we're gonna look over, we're gonna look at comparison operators. Then I'm gonna give you a break, then we're gonna come back in and do an exercise using these, okay? So I think this will be pretty easy for you guys. I'm gonna erase this. This board is kind of crummy. All right. I think you know what these are just from mathematics. But let's look at them anyway.
I've been trying to remember how to do greater and less than equal to.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt to go over it. All right, so these are called comparison operators. And basically we're comparing two numbers. We're comparing two numbers, that's it. Is this number, how does this one number compare to the others? Okay, so that's all it is. So let's look at the first one. This is a greater than. So that means greater than. So if I said 10, which is greater than 5, that's an example. And I'm going to say result in this column here. So every comparison expression, this is an expression, is going to evaluate to true or false. Okay, it's a condition, it's an expression. So is the result of this true or false?
True.
Okay, good. Okay, strictly greater than. How about this? Is 10 greater than 10?
No.
False. Good. All right. Okay, that's greater than. Let's look at less than. Okay. Let me put a line here. Okay, so let's look at, let's say 5 less than 10. Is that true?
Oh yeah, true.
That is true, yeah. That expression evaluates the true. How about 5 less than 5?
False.
False, right. Okay, what's our next one? Ah. What the heck does this mean?
Greater than or equal to.
Yeah, greater than or equal. Or equal to. It's cute. Alright, so let's say, what does that result in? Is 10 greater than or equal to 5? True? Okay, good. How about 10, oh, hang on.
Yeah, got the.
Greater than or equal to 10?
True.
True, because 10 is equal to 10. Greater than or equal. So it's one or the other. So this is, you can say, is it greater than 10? No, but it is equal to 10, so this is true. Okay, that's true in that case. Okay, let's look at the other one, which you guys now should figure it out. That's less than or equal, right? Or equal. So let's do the same thing. We said 5 less than or equal to 10. That true?
Yes.
Yeah. And how about 5 less than or equal to 5? True. Okay, you're doing well. Okay, there's 2 more. The double equal, I have to go to this board now.
Is now considered.
What's that?
Is now considered. I don't know how to phrase this yet.
Oh.
We'll now address it as.
Yeah. We will address the double equal. Wish we had more boards. Okay. So comparison operators, there's 2 more. Okay, so we have the double equal. So these are more comparison. We're comparing 2 numbers. Or strings too. So the double equal. Okay. This means equivalent. Equivalent. Okay, so if I say 5 equal 5, this is, I'm going to say this is the expression. And what's the result of that expression? Going to be, hopefully you guys can see this, is 5 equal to 5? Now we can't do this. That's assignment. Remember, a single equal is assignment. And you can't assign, and this can't be a variable.
Oh, right.
Because it's a number. You can't set 5 equal to another number. So this is no good. Is this true or false?
True.
True, yeah.
It's very equivalent to it.
Yeah, very equivalent. Is, let's try it with a string. Is my int, the string, equivalent to capital my int? You see where I'm going. So this.
Can't you not name a string after a variable, or after a?
Now these are just strings. Don't even think of variables. This is
They're both
just
strings.
one string. We're just comparing a string to another string. Are those strings equal?
Couldn't it be if you did something to make it that way?
You could, but as they are right now, are they equal?
No.
No, that's false. There is a way to do that.
Elif.
There is a way to do that, but right now they are not equal, because this, the way you compare strings, what it does is, it looks at the first letter of that string and that string, and it says, is a lowercase m equal to an uppercase m? It fails right there. We might have something that says my int, is that equal to lowercase my I in A, my Ina row. So it looks at these first two, it says, oh, those are the same, okay. Then it looks at the Y's, those are the same. The big I, that's the same. The N, that's the same. Then it looks at the T versus the A, and it says, oh, those aren't equal.
Man, Python is slow.
That's how it compares strings. It goes letter at a time, so that would be false. Okay, and the last one, I'm gonna give you a break. They call this not equivalent. And this is a weird word in computer science that we use for the exclamation point. Does anybody know what it's called?
I just thought of it as not.
It's called, when you say it, it's called bang. If you're typing it, you'd say bang, bang. I don't know where that came from. Okay, so this is not equivalent. So if I change this to
Totally true.
That's
not
true.
equivalent, is that true or false?
True.
That's true, yeah. So we're just comparing two values. They could be integers. What if I said 3.14 not equivalent to 2.0?
True.
That's true. What if I said 5 not equivalent to 5?
False.
False.
It's false. They are equivalent. It's false. Okay, very good. All right, we've covered. Does anybody have any questions about comparison operators? Let me show you one more thing. We can have what they call chaining comparisons while we're in here. Chaining comparisons. Okay, so if I said 1 x 5. So we're saying, is x greater than equal to 1 and is x less than or equal to 5? So if I set x equals to 3, if I set x equal to 3, this is assignment.
Say less than 1? Oh.
Is this
X
true or
greater than.
false?
True.
This chain.
True.
It's true, right? Because 3 is in between 1 and 5. What if I set x equal 1?
True.
True?
True.
Yeah, because it's less than or equal to.
Includes 1.
That'd be true. What if I said x is equal to 5?
True.
True, that's true. What about x equal 6?
False.
False. Okay. So the only values that would make this expression true would be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Right? So this is called chaining comparisons. We've got two comparison, a less than, and this is an interesting point here. Since this is within a range, you would write this, is x greater than or equal to 1 and, where and, x less than or equal to 5. That's the way you would read this. Is x greater than or equal to 1, and also is x less than or equal to 5. when you see the and in here, this means it's trying to find a range, okay? What if I wrote this? This is a little different, and I'm gonna let you guys out. Let's look at another chain. We're not gonna use the and. It's gonna be read differently. I think some of you guys might know where I'm going with this. What if I said x is greater than or equal, or less than or equal? No, wait a minute, this was,
The thing,
did I write that wrong?
the number is gonna be less than or equal to x is what you're saying.
I wrote this thing wrong, didn't I? No, I didn't.
No, just
No, I didn't.
confusing.
I did it right.
Because the variable's on the right.
I did it right. Less than or equal to 1, or greater than or equal to 10. How would what would satisfy this and make this true?
Everything in between 1 and 10?
So that's
X is greater than or equal to 1 and why not? Everything. from
This is
1
saying x is greater than or equal to 1.
Yeah.
X is
And it's
greater
less than or equal to 10.
than or equal to 1, or x is greater than or equal to 10. This isn't the best. I should have changed this around.
Or x, I just think that makes his answer right, doesn't it?
Let's, hang on, I want to do this differently. There we go. I'm gonna make this less. Greater than or equal to 10. Okay, so this is an or. So if I was gonna do a number line, and we got 0 here, and we got 1 here, and we got 10 here, what would satisfy this and make this true?
0. Now 1 is greater than x.
So this is a dot. It would be everything over here,
Yeah, and then everything the other way.
including the dot, because that's less than or equal,
Mhm.
and everything
Yeah.
greater than 10.
So nothing between 1 and 10.
Yeah. So this is called chaining comparison again. Chaining comparison.
X is greater than or equal to 10. Or, yes.
Okay, so you guys can take a break, come back at 5 till. Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to cover everything, but